Honorable members, prayers. Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favor upon this Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Grant that it may perform its high duty as in thy sight. Give divine guidance to the President of the Republic. Endow members of Parliament with discernment and vision, integrity and courage, that through the labors of government, this land and people may be well and truly served, and thy good purposes for the common human life be realized in our midst. O God, grant us a vision of our country, fair as it might be, a country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, a country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, a country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service, and honor shall be given to the deserving, a country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people and the love for the common good. Bless the efforts of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people, that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Honorable members, I have two messages from His Excellency, the President. The first is dated 3rd February 2023, and it reads, Mr. Speaker, absence from Ghana. In accordance with Article 59 of the Constitution, I write to inform you that I will be traveling outside the country on a working visit to Dubai, United Arab Emirates, in the evening of Friday, 3rd February 2023. Upon return to Ghana on Tuesday, 7 February 2023, I will proceed to Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire, at the invitation of His Excellency President Alassane Ouattara to attend the Felix Robert Moigny UNESCO 2022 Award Ceremony, scheduled to be held on 8th February 2023 in Yamoussoukro, at which event His Excellency Frau Angela Merkel, former Chancellor of the Federal Republic of Germany, will receive this year's award. I'll return to Ghana in the evening of Wednesday, 8th February 2023. During my absence, the Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, shall, in accordance with Clause 8 of the Constitution, act in my stead. Yours sincerely and best wishes, Nana Adudankwa Akufo-Addo. The second message is dated 7th February 2023, and it reads, Mr. Speaker, I hope this finds you in good health and spirits, and I take the opportunity to wish you and the members of the House a happy New Year. This is to inform you of certain changes that I intend to make to the government with the approval of Parliament. Honorable members, let's listen to this very important message from the President. After that, you can do your own reshuffle. The message is dated 7 February 2023, and it reads, Mr. Speaker, I hope this finds you in good health and spirits, and I take the opportunity to wish you and the members of the House a happy New Year. This is to inform you of certain changes that I intend to make to the government with the approval of Parliament. Following the resignation on 3rd January 2023 of Mr. Alan Chiramanten as Minister for Trade and Industry, of Dr. Owusu Afriye Akoto on 10th January 2023 as Minister for Food and Agriculture, and of Honorable Ebenezer Kojokum, Member of Parliament for Ahanta West, on 3rd February 2023 as Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. I have, in accordance with Article 78(1) of the Constitution, nominated the following persons to be appointed as Ministers of State in their place, subject to the approval of Parliament. 1. Honorable Kobina Tahir Hammond, Member of Parliament for Adanse Asokwa, Minister for Trade and Industry.
Drillship.
2. Honorable Brian Achampo, Member of Parliament for Abetifi, Minister for Food and Agriculture. 3. Mr. Stephen Asamoah Boateng, Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. I have further nominated the following persons as Ministers of State, subject to the approval of Parliament. 1. Honorable Mohammed Amin Adam, Member of Parliament for Canada, currently the Deputy Minister for Energy, as Minister of State at the Ministry of Finance. To replace to replace Mr. Charles Adubuahin, the former Minister of State at the Ministry of Finance. And 2, Honorable Osei Bonsu Amon, Member of Parliament for Akwapim South, currently the Deputy Minister for Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, as Minister of State at the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development. As a consequence of the nomination of Honorable Mohammed Amin Adam as Minister of State at the Ministry of Finance, I want to inform Parliament, for its records, that I intend to transfer Mr. Herbert Krapper, currently Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, to the Ministry of Energy as Deputy Minister for Energy to replace Honorable Mohammed Amin Adam. As a result of the vacancy which will be occasioned because of the reorganization of government, I have, in accordance with Article 79(1) of the Constitution, nominated Honorable Dr. Stephen Amwa Member of Parliament for Inshaso as Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, subject to the approval of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, it is my hope that the approval of the above-named ministers designate and Deputy Minister designate can be done expeditiously to enable me fill the vacant positions in the government as soon as possible. Yours sincerely, Nana Adudankwa Akufo-Addo. Honorable members, this honorable members, I accordingly refer this communication to the Appointments Committee for consideration and report to the House. I want to, on behalf of members, congratulate the members of Parliament who have met the high consideration of His Excellency and have been given the opportunity to go through the vetting by this House. I hope all of you will pass. It's only a hope. But since the minority were jubilating more than the majority, it's an indication that you may go through. Honorable members, I have a very short communication, and after that, I will give opportunity to the leaders to say a few words before we move on. The statement definitely is in connection with my welcome remarks of members from the recess. Honorable members, it's always a pleasure to welcome you back to plenary sessions from recess. You recall Parliament adjourned sine die from plenary sessions on the 22nd of December 2022 and proceeded to perform its functions in a more direct, pluralistic, and practical manner. I saw, I read, and I witnessed the state of the country's democratic development as you engaged with your constituents across the country. You reconnected as well as established strong bonds and warm relations with your constituents and the public during the Yuletide and New Year season. Your impact has given a boost to the democratic credentials of the country, and I want to take this opportunity to congratulate all of you for a good job done, and I say congratulations. Before I proceed further, let me recognize the new leadership of the Minority Caucus in Parliament. I was formally informed of the reshuffle of the leadership by the General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, Honorable Fifi Fiavi Kweti, by a letter dated 23rd January 2023. The new leaders are Minority Leader, Honorable Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen, Deputy Minority Leader, Honorable Kofi Ama Boa, Minority Whip, Honorable Kwame Abuja, First Deputy Whip, Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, and Second Deputy Whip, Honorable Comfort Doyo Dancer. The new leaders have all been in this house for a while and are very conversant with the culture and law of Parliament. I have confidence in their ability to meet the high expectations of our stakeholders. On behalf of the House and on my part, I warmly welcome them to the hot seats of the leadership of my Parliament, and I want to emphasize hot seats of the leadership of Parliament. Congratulations, and I wish you well. The former members of the leadership, led by Honorable Haruna Idrisu, must be applauded too. Their record of performance is visible for all to see. And I hope the new leadership will continue to draw from their fountain of wisdom trove of wealth and experience. I know what it entails as a veteran of this journey and experience to lead a populous minority caucus in Parliament. All I can say to the former leaders is, the Lord is your shepherd. You shall not want. When one door closes, many doors open. And I tell you for sure that many of the open doors are better and higher than the closed door. Look at the open doors and not the closed one. With this, I welcome all of you once more. And I wish you all a very happy and prosperous New Year. Just a word on the sitting at a glance. During this meeting, the House has 61 bills to consider. 61. 49 instruments represented. 230 papers are also ready to be presented to the House. And you have already filed 827 questions. Some are very urgent, and some are normal questions. Additionally, there will be 34 private members' motions and 3 petitions. These are already before the House. And so clearly, this will be a very busy meeting. All I can say is to plead with members, having come from such a strenuous recess, to focus on plenary sessions for us to be able to transact this business. We definitely have a lot on our plate for this sitting. And there are urgent issues that require resolution, most of which are as a result of the state of our economy and the social issues arising therefrom. The electorates are looking up to us to help find solutions to these essential issues. If there is a time that we as members of Parliament ought to set aside our partisan clocks and think Ghana, it is now. I am confident that with the Almighty God on our side, we will together ride the current storm. And let me at this juncture, on behalf of the Parliament of Ghana, add my prayers to the many supplications being made on behalf of our former Black Stars player, Christian Achu, who we are told has been pulled from the rubble of the earthquake that ravaged parts of Turkey and Syria yesterday. We wish him a speedy recovery. And with this, honorable members, I thank you for your attention. I will want to give to the new leadership of the minority. If they have a word to say, they should say it now, and then the leader of the House, the majority leader, will also have a word before we can move on. Yes, so is it? No, it's proper for the leader to hear him before. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, not long ago, in January 7, 2009, I took the very first step in this chamber towards becoming a representative for the people of Ejumakon, Enyan, Esiam in the central region of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, 14 years on, as a young, fresh legislator, I have the unique honor of being entrusted with the leadership of the Minority Caucus in the 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic. With this, Mr. Speaker, and with all humility, I recognize this as the greatest honor done me and my new leadership colleague, made up of Honorable Ama Kofi-Buah, Honorable Kwame Abuja, Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, and Honorable Comfort Doyo. Mr. Speaker, we wish to convey our profound gratitude to our party, the great NDC in particular, and our colleagues on the minority side for this opportunity to serve at an even higher level and to help shape the trajectory of Parliament. Again, Mr. Speaker, I would like to express on behalf of my colleagues our profound appreciation and thanks to the immediate past minority leader and my senior brother, the Honorable Haruna Idrisu, for his many years of distinguished public service and his sterling leadership of the Minority Caucus since 2017. Mr. Speaker, his is an honorable political and legislative career which has become a reference point for many who aspire to participate in Ghanaian politics, and particularly in public service. Again, Mr. Speaker, I would like to endeavor to continue on the admirable path he has charted in the helm of the Minority Caucus and to live up to the very lofty standards that he has laid down in its leadership. I know for sure, Mr. Speaker, that I can count on his wise counsel and tap in his vast knowledge and experience in parliamentary practices and leadership going forward. Similarly, Mr. Speaker, our deep appreciation goes to the immediate past Deputy Minority Leader and the Chief Whip, Honorable Muntaka and Honorable James Kruche Adveji, respectively. Mr. Speaker, both gentlemen have been the very backbone in which the Minority Caucus has leaned all these years. Their masterful perspective on the affairs of this House have enhanced the work of the caucus and in Parliament as a whole. We in the minority are privileged to have them as part of our caucus. To my colleagues on the minority side, we pledge to offer a fair and unbiased, balanced, consultative, and principled leadership in our journey to broaden the frontiers of parliamentary oversight and to hold the Akufo-Addo and the Alhaji Bawumia government to account in a manner that helps deliver public goods. Mr. Speaker, to my colleagues on the majority side, I wish to convey from this side of the House that even as we remain firm, resolute, and principled in our journey to discharge our duties as a caucus, we shall not be needlessly obstructionist inasmuch as what is under consideration is in the interest of the people of Ghana, and the right process and requirements have been adhered to. Again, Mr. Speaker, just yesterday, our minister responsible for finance informed the nation that Ghana needs an IMF bailout by March 2023, else our economy will crash. It is interesting to note that this is the same finance minister who recently said that Ghana, I can tell you, in quote, that I can tell you we are not going back to IMF. Whatever we do, we are not going back. The consequences are there. We are a proud nation. We have the resources. We have the capacity. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. We are not the people of short sight, and we'll move on. Mr. Speaker, the people of Ghana looks up to us to mount a barrier between them and the worsening standards of governance, especially because of the hung nature of this Parliament. Mr. Speaker, this demands the highest level of scrutiny of government policies and activities to prevent the infliction of more damage and pain on an already weary and overburdened populace. It is unclear, based on the history of the majority side in this House, in the 8th Parliament, whether they are motivated, like we are, to put the brakes on the very poor governance we have seen so far. Mr. Speaker, I can say with all the confidence I can muster that we on the minority side mean business and we are up to the task. Again, Mr. Speaker, we are simply unwilling to countenance any more bad governance, and we will insist on the highest level of performance from all government officials and institutions over whom oversight and jurisdictions. We are unwilling to be part of any negligence of duty of any sort, and neither shall we tolerate any lackadaisical attitude towards the work of this House by public officials. We will maintain the highest level of vigilance and offer intense scrutiny of government programs, policies, agreements, bills, and legislative instruments. We will also not compromise on what we earnestly believe to be the right thing. Again, Mr. Speaker, this is our solemn pledge as the Minority Caucus under my leadership to the people of Ghana. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I wish to thank you, Mr. Speaker, for your strong leadership of this House and the very long years of public service. Mr. Speaker, I look forward to working closely with you and the members of Parliament in this my new capacity as the minority leader, and to ensure a smooth and orderly execution of our mandate as Parliament on behalf of the people of Ghana. I thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Thank you.
Honorable Majority Leader.
Speaker, let me also take this opportunity to welcome honorable colleagues back from the Christmas recess. I want to believe that you have all had sufficient rest and that we are poised to do business to help the development agenda of government. Speaker, this reconvening on the 7th of February, I guess, represents the first time that Parliament, at its first meeting, is sitting in February. We are likely to adjourn on 31st March, which is the last Friday before the Good Friday, which is 7th April. What it means is that the House is going to sit for just 8 weeks. And yet, Mr. Speaker, as you yourself said, we have a very tall order of business. Before we adjourned, there were some financial bills before us that we couldn't pass. Mr. Speaker, these financial bills ensue from the budget that we have approved. I will just want to appeal to members and indeed the Finance Committee to expedite action on these bills so that we'll be able to deal with them expeditiously. Speaker, there are also some other bills, including in particular the National Vaccine Institute Bill and the Grains Development Authority Bill that are also outstanding. I hope that we'll be able to finish with these two in particular, apart from those other bills that are coming on stream, before we hear the President of the Republic. Speaker, but as we all do know, the principal item of this meeting is the President's message on the state of the nation. I believe that together with the Speaker, we can find the amicable time for the presentation of the message on the state of the nation, which appears, Mr. Speaker, perhaps may be poised to be delivered in the first week of March. That is maybe 1st to maybe the 3rd of March. Speaker, 30 years of parliamentary democracy since 1983, and I believe that you yourself, you have occasioned the setting up of a committee to help us celebrate the occasion, 30 years of uninterrupted existence of Parliament in Ghana, the first time that we are seeing this post-independence, and I guess it's worth celebrating. The Speaker, while we were on holidays, the NDC announced changes in their leadership. It is indeed the prerogative of the party to do that. At the heart of the confusion that ensued was the matter of consultation. The Speaker, it had to do with consultation. And I believe that the parties, not only NDC, but the parties should do serious introspection on their own parties' constitutions. That is where the problem is. Let those who have ears listen. Mr. Speaker, I guess, as I said, the other political parties must take a cue from this. Mr. Speaker, opportunity to express my profound appreciation to the Honorable Haruna Drusu, the Honorable Muntaka, and also the Honorable James Abeji Cloche, in the services that they've rendered, not only to the minority caucus, but also to Parliament. Mr. Speaker, they've been of tremendous assistance in building Parliament as an institution. Mr. Speaker, occasionally in our working relationship, there were hiccups, but that is what happens in the established parliaments in all established democracies. The Honorable Haruna Idrisu have become part of me for the past 6 years that we worked together. On occasions, there were allegations of a sellout. Mr. Speaker, let me use this occasion to state emphatically and unambiguously that no such thing ever happened. We developed a very harmonious working relationship, and people then read meanings into them. The business of the minority leader to assist the majority leader in facilitating government work program. And if a person does that, that should not be perceived as selling out to the majority. Mr. Speaker, I wish all the former leaders whose names I've mentioned, Haruna Idrisu, James Abeji Kluche, and the Honorable Muntaka Mubarak Mohammed, very well wherever they find themselves. Let me take this opportunity to also welcome the new leadership of the man to their new position. I trust that as leadership, we can work together to build Parliament. The Speaker, the Honorable Atuforsen has been a friend and brother. Ama Kufibua, a colleague from the Western region, is being a close associate from the Western flank, just as the Honorable Abuja, the Agbaja dancer, is a professional colleague, and he also operates from the Eastern flank. The Speaker, I want to believe that we can work together to achieve the functionality of Parliament. And I look forward, and indeed all of us in the leadership of the majority look forward to working with the new leadership in a very professional manner to promote transparent and accountable government that indeed will help to grow Ghana, to improve the living standards of our people. That is what Parliament exists for. That is what we must pursue. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity granted. And once again, let me congratulate the new leadership of the NDC in Parliament. Thank you very much.
Honourable members, you've heard it all. I am happy that I'm still around when this happened. Because many of the leaders were inspired and mesmerized by me to join politics. I identified some, campaigned for them, worked for them to become members of Parliament. And when they joined me, I did everything possible to empower them, to groom them, to mentor them, and to give them opportunities. And this is how far we've gone. I gave just an iota of advice, and I want all of you to abide by that. I've gone through it myself. And with maturity, I have benefited a lot. On many occasions, I went launching their campaigns. On some occasions, I had to campaign to make sure they won. Today, where I passed through is where they have passed through. And it's my duty and my responsibility to make sure that those coming after me performs better than me. That is when you talk about development and growth. Your son or daughter must do better than you. And that is my responsibility. I owe it to all of you for reciprocating and making it possible for me to be Speaker of this House. I will never forget that. I will never forget what happened that day. And I want to assure you of my continuous support and guidance, even if I am not the Speaker of this House. And so, please, don't be troubled at all. You are still all beloved members of the family. And so, please, communication is a very difficult subject. But as we grow, we learn from experience. And I'm sure what has happened is another learning curve, particularly for my colleagues in the minority. What has happened means that the selection committee will have to meet immediately because we have to reconstitute the committees and other bodies before His Excellency comes to deliver the State of the Nation's address. And so please, members of the Committee of Selection, get yourself ready. And this meeting, we have to get through the standing orders so that we can renew and reinvigorate this Parliament for this year. With this, we'll now move to the next item, which is the business statement for the first week. In fact, this is one of the things that held us, was the committee had to meet today and to program the business for today and this week. So please, business statement for the first week by the chairman of the business committee.
Mr. Speaker, respectfully, the majority leader had to step out for some other engagement. With your leave, I am his vice chair.
Yeah.
I may want to proceed to
Please go on
his behalf. Mr. Speaker, the business committee met today to arrange the business of the House for the first week ending Friday, the 10th of February 2023. Mr. Speaker, the report of the committee is what I intend to submit and move the House to adopt same. So, Speaker, it's been arranged as follows. The formal communications may be read by you. Questions, Mr. Speaker, may be admitted in accordance with the rules of the House. And, Mr. Speaker, ministers of state would be scheduled in subsequent weeks to respond to questions asked relating to their respective ministries. Now, Mr. Speaker, again, under the rules of the House, you may admit statements to be read by members and ministers of state. And then again, Mr. Speaker, government business which would be coming to the House in the form of papers may also be laid during the week, and reports from committees may also be presented. Then, Mr. Speaker, as a matter of consequential resolution, if any of the committee reports is taken and there's a decision on it, we may pass resolutions, if any. Mr. Speaker, the committee takes the opportunity to welcome members back from the Christmas recess, and the committee is of the view that members have come well refreshed and well poised to undertake the assignment for this meeting. Mr. Speaker, the first meeting of the third session of the 8th Parliament is expected to be demanding of honourable members, since a number of bills and other important parliamentary business will be considered at this meeting. Bills that may be presented to the House will number 62. Instruments that are being processed to be delivered to the House number 40. And there are about 827 questions that have been admitted, and indications are that the number will climb up. So members have returned, since members have returned from their constituencies, and as usual have had interaction with constituents and would want to reflect the needs of constituents, especially during question time. For this reason, the Office of the Leader of Government Business has been consulting and conferring with ministers to determine their respective prioritized agenda for the meeting. It is hoped that this joint effort by the House would lead to, Mr. Speaker, judicious use of our time in ensuring that members get satisfied by way of the demands from their constituents. Mr. Speaker, His Excellency the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, in accordance with Article 67 of the Constitution, will deliver to the House a message on the state of the nation. Honourable members are entreated to brace up themselves for the task ahead. The date shall be communicated. The date shall be communicated to the honourable members in the fullness of time. Referral to committees, Mr. Speaker, there are 13 public bills before committees and 5 private member bills before the Parliament. In this regard, the committee takes this opportunity to urge committees with these referrals to expedite work on same for the consideration of the House. Again, committees with referrals other than bills are also being urged to expedite action on same for consideration of the House. Mr. Speaker, the order of business for this week is here too attached, and it's a 4-page document which outlines what is expected to be done on each day. Mr. Speaker, having said this and nothing useful to add, again move the House to adopt this report in accordance with Order 162 and 53 of the Rules of the House. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, the business statement has been presented. I don't know whether members have comments to make.
I'm most grateful, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I commend the Deputy Majority Leader for the presentation of the business statement. Mr. Speaker, there is a particular issue of enormous public interest, which is the ongoing domestic debt exchange program that the government is pursuing. During the break, I joined the Majority Leader, the current Minority Leader, who was then ranking member of the Finance Committee, to receive a petition from the Association of Individual Bondholders. And, Mr. Speaker, only yesterday, senior citizens, pensioners, picketed at the Ministry of Finance, and they continue to picket. They say they will picket until their pensions are guaranteed them. Mr. Speaker, this has created enormous anxiety. Ghanaians are genuinely concerned about their life savings, their investments, their bonds, and there is no briefing this House has received. We have not debated this program, and yet the Ministry of Finance is going ahead to implement this domestic debt exchange program, which they say is a conditionality of a sort with the ongoing IMF engagements. So, Mr. Speaker, I would like to draw attention to the budget that this House approved, the 2023 budget, paragraph 278, page 71. This is what the Minister told us. I quote with your permission, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the details of the debt operation program will be announced soon to the public and the investor community after the necessary engagement with all relevant stakeholders, unquote. Mr. Speaker, these engagements have not taken place. Members of Parliament have not been engaged. This House has not been engaged. The individual bondholders, that they were not engaged. Indeed, the President had assured them a few days prior to the announcement that they will not be part of it. They will be exempted. Now, all of those who were told they will be exempted have all been included. And Mr. Speaker, this is a matter of great concern, and this House cannot pretend that our people who we represent here, our constituents, who are so affected, including some of us, Honourable Speaker, who are affected by this exchange program. We need to be briefed. The Minister for Finance must appear before us, and we must debate and agree exactly what should be the nature of this domestic debt exchange program. Who should be exempted? And what are the implications? What are the full ramifications on the Ghanaian economy and on the affected citizens who, Mr. Speaker, are currently living in anguish, in pain, and in great anxiety, Mr. Speaker. So I am quite disappointed that the business arranged for this week does not feature the Finance Minister. The Finance Minister will have to appear before this House. Right Honourable Speaker, I appeal to you respectfully to instruct that the Minister for Finance appears before us so that we can have a full briefing, we can debate this matter. He himself told us that he was going to engage when we approved the budget. That engagement has not taken place. He's taken all of us by surprise. And Mr. Speaker, that cannot continue. This House must be respected, your authority must be respected, and the Ghanaian people must see that their parliament is fully apprised, is seized with this matter, and is debating this matter in the best interest of the Ghanaian people. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah. Yes, Honorable Mama Yarga.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my concerns are similar, except to say, Mr. Speaker, that the duty of the Finance Minister is not simply to engage this House. Mr. Speaker, Article 181, Clause 3 of our Constitution is clear that this is borrowing on behalf of the state. And Sections 55 and 56 of the Public Financial Management Act 2016 is also very clear that this is borrowing on behalf of the state. The terms and conditions of the borrowing ordinarily must be laid before this House and must be approved by a resolution of this House. And the Minister has gone ahead to go and define his own terms and conditions of borrowing, negotiating with the bondholders, terms and conditions that have not been approved by this House, and coercing and compelling them, banks, insurance institutions, individual bondholders, coercing and cajoling them to accept terms and conditions that have not been approved by this Parliament by a resolution pursuant to Section 55 and 56 of the Public Financial Management Act and Article 1813 of the Constitution of Ghana as it relates to borrowing. Mr. Speaker, this is clearly illegal, unconstitutional, a clear breach of his responsibilities as a Minister of Finance, an affront to the very authority of this House. And therefore, this matter must not be left lying down, that he must bring the terms here for us to approve before he offers it to these individual bondholders and institutions for them to either accept or reject. Mr. Speaker, he must come before this House. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to thank this House and the people of Ghana for helping us steer the nation, to this stage. And in the budget of 2023, we mentioned, this House approved that policy, that we were going to come up with a domestic debt exchange. And Mr. Speaker, based on the budget that was approved, Parliament gave us permission to spend compensation to a certain tune, and then our borrowings to a certain tune, and then capital expenditure as well as goods and services. And for my friend on the other side to say that we are now going to borrow, these are funds that were approved for us to utilize previously. And government is saying, I'm engaging with you to make sure that due to the conditions in which I find myself now, I will not be able to discharge what initially I had agreed with you. And Mr. Speaker, let me put it on record that the pension funds are not part of this exercise that we are doing. Just to correct my friend on the other side, pension funds are not part of the exercise that we are engaging now. Mr. Speaker, they are not part of it. All these various bondholders, we have been able to engage them We did it with the banks, we did it with the insurance companies. And I know that last week when we met the business committee of the House, the leadership of the House, we mentioned that once Parliament comes through, we will come and brief the House on how far and the steps that we have taken to get to where we are. So, Mr. Speaker, Parliament was on recess. Parliament went on the 23rd. Parliament has just resumed. And we mentioned it last week when we met the House, the leadership, that this is what we intend to do, to come and brief the House. So I think my brothers on the other side are jumping the gun. A little patience. And let's not muddy the waters out there, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let's not muddy the waters out there. We have done the engagement. Yes, it is true that we haven't been able to engage Parliament, but Mr. Speaker, we sounded the call to Parliament. We haven't been able to engage Parliament, but Mr. Speaker, we have engaged various bondholders. We have engaged various bondholders as a responsible government and do that. We are in this together, Mr. Speaker. This is the stage where we are, and we need everybody to come on board to make sure that we steer the affairs of this economy. We can do our politics later, but it's the nation that needs our help at this moment. We can do our politics later, but our children, our people, our citizens need us. That is why we are here to support the government to make this happen. Mr. Speaker, we are not shying away from this. The Minister for Finance will come and brief the House appropriately. But let me say that pension funds are not part of this whole action. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, this is voluntary. Nobody is being compelled to do it. It is voluntary. But we are rather appealing to everybody to make sure they come on board so that our program with the IMF will be a success. That is all we are saying, Mr. Speaker. So I'll ask my friends on the other side not to muddy the waters. Let's be patient. Let's get a time for the Minister of Finance to come to the House and brief the House appropriately. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Dafiamako.
Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Speaker, I associate myself entirely with the submissions of my two brothers, the Honorable Kujatua Blakwa, and of course, the submissions by the Honorable Mama Yarga. Mr. Speaker, we are raising a matter based on urgency. The Deputy Minister for Finance is completely out of sync. Nobody is muddying any water. There's no water at all. What we are saying is that government, through the finance minister, has just told this country that if the arrangements are not made timeously, and we approach the IMF by March, our economy will collapse. That is not my language. That is their language. And Parliament is saying, come and give us the terms and modalities of what you are doing. And you are saying we are muddying waters. So, as a matter of urgency, this should feature in our business for the week. That is all that we are asking for. So that when it comes, we'll be properly ascribed of the issues that's confronting our people. Mr. Speaker, we've just returned from our constituencies. We've not been able to address these matters when we were confronted with by our people, because we didn't know the terms. So how do you speak to these issues when your constituents raise them? We have to give excuses that will come back. So it's important that as members of Parliament, we are probably apprised of the clear terms. Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, Deputy Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to respond to the few concerns raised. Mr. Speaker, first of all, in the business statement, paragraph 2B, Right Honorable Speaker, given that the Business Committee met this morning to program business for this week, it was impractical to schedule ministers to respond to questions on short notice. Ministers of State will, however, be scheduled in subsequent weeks to respond to questions asked relating to their respective ministries. Mr. Speaker, when we met as a business committee, and for the avoidance of doubt, the business committee is made up of both the minority leadership and the majority leadership. The new minority leaders are part of. Nothing is coming to you by surprise. We agreed as a committee to have this approach. And Mr. Speaker, I agree with the issue of urgency. No referral has come from Mr. Speaker's office being a statement or somebody requesting for urgent statement to be made by the Minister of Finance. There was nothing. Honorable Ablakwa has not filed any question. Honorable Ablakwa has not filed an urgent question in accordance with parliamentary procedure. Honorable Ablakwa has not requested of the minister to make an urgent statement. Mr. Speaker, we did not receive anything. But Mr. Speaker, the matter they are raising is important matter. Save that, Mr. Speaker, save that the constitutional argument stands on stilts. Because, Mr. Speaker, much as we want to argue, we should make sure that on all fours, if we are invoking the Constitution, we invoke the Constitution rightly. I can understand the Honorable Ayarga wants to compliment the new leaders with some law. But in complimenting them with some law, you should compliment them rightly. Mr. Speaker, I can understand. He wants to compliment with law, but he should do so rightly. Mr. Speaker, the constitutional issue he raised is misplaced completely. Mr. Speaker, I repeat, I am on my feet responding. So let me finish. Let me finish, Honorable Bua. Let me finish. If you disagree, then you come in. I'm responding to questions. Mr. Speaker, all I am saying is that the approvals, the bonds, each year, the budgets that come, we approve such budgets. Included in it are the borrowings. So it is not for Honorable Ayere that the government is engaged in borrowing. It is not, please, with respect. I, however, identify myself with the consent that there must be engagement, which engagement the government has already started. With respect to engagement here in Parliament, we've just come. We have just come. And Mr. Speaker, the Deputy Minister has assured the House that the government is ever ready to engage Parliament. But let it not be said that the government is acting ultra vires of the Constitution. Let it never be said that the government is acting ultra vires of the Constitution. That is never the case. And for the avoidance of doubt, and at the risk of being repetitive, I re-echo what the Honorable Deputy Minister said. We approved the 2023 budget. We approved the 2023 budget. And everything, Agboja, now you are here. Agboja, you don't do this. Mr. Speaker, look at Honorable Agboja, the new chief whip. The new chief whip is bringing down his backbench behavior to the front bench. You shouldn't do this. Keep quiet. When I'm done, you seek Mr. Speaker's rebut. That is the way you do it. Agboja, you must learn fast. So, Mr. Speaker has already advised you. You are rising. Okay. Mr. Speaker, they want to bring backbench behavior to the front bench. They are free to go ahead. This is the acting chairman of the business committee responding to issues. You don't get up on a point of order. Allow me to respond. So, Mr. Speaker, without more, I will rest my case and await the next set of consents. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Adongo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is quite clear that this is a very important matter that we all wish was programmed to be dealt with this week. Mr. Speaker, we have an economy that is in crisis. And we have the government doing everything it can to secure an IM deal that they initially didn't believe in, but which they now say is the solution to the problem. But at the heart of it is the fact that we must hasten in order to ensure that we don't arrive at the IMF when there is no economy to manage. Mr. Speaker, we keep hearing a lot of things happening with this debt exchange program. Only recently we heard that some 15 billion that was not announced in the budget would be available to support the program. 15 billion. Nowhere in the budget did we approve any 15 billion Ghana cedis for the Bank of Ghana. We have seen letters written by the finance minister asking banks to approach an entity called Ghana Amalgamated Trust to access funding when the state has not provided funding. And so we need to have answers to all of these. Mr. Speaker, there are several regulators involved in this space. And the regulators are struggling because there is a heavy government hand in this process. The Bank of Ghana, even though it's admitting banks are going to get insolvent and illiquid, is unable to fight because it is government. The Securities and Exchange, instead of protecting its own, is agreeing that their agencies should go and raise public funds in order that these entities suffer the consequences. The Insurance Commission is doing the same. The National Pensions Regulatory Authority is struggling to hold its own. Mr. Speaker, you don't need just pension funds. There are individuals who have gone on pension, taken their pensions, invested them as individuals, and they are living on the interest of those investments for the rest of their lives. Today, they are being told that money doesn't exist anymore. Mr. Speaker, as part of our oversight, will require a very thorough involvement in this process so that we can work with government to arrive at a conclusion that is satisfactory for our country. March is only a month away, and we cannot wait for the economy to crash because they are running away from Parliament. So, Mr. Speaker, it is important that the minister is programmed to appear before us and for you to take the appropriate decisions that will enable Parliament to have a very full review and encounter with all the parties involved so we can input into this process and have a better deal that serves the interests of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, this has to be done speedily and we cannot wait any longer. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Suhini, something different?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much for the opportunity, and I take this also to welcome you and my colleagues. Mr. Speaker, I just want to associate entirely with the submissions made by my three colleagues, except to add that, Mr. Speaker, and of interest, for which the Finance Minister, if leadership is sober enough to accept their request to get him to brief this Parliament this week, we will wish he includes, has to do with the discussion around the gold for oil business. Mr. Speaker, this House has considered a barter trade before, and it had to do with the Sino-Hydro deal. Mr. Speaker, just as there is lack of transparency and information regarding the issue of the bond as it is, bondholders as it is to be part of this debt restructuring. Same can be said about this gold for oil deal. Mr. Speaker, a number of questions remain unanswered, and some are of the view that it is or it has the nature of an international transaction, for which reason the House, if properly briefed, will take a decision and help government to fine-tune it to the benefit of the people of this country, especially with the experience that we had with previous barter deals, such as the Sino-Hydro deal, which, with all intent and purposes, is not living up to expectation. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity.
Honourable members, be mindful of the fact that these are just comments on a business statement. We are not debating any matter. Yes, you want to say something?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, it is imperative for the minister responsible for finance to appear before us and to, not necessarily in the form of a question, but to give us a policy brief, policy brief as to what is actually going on. Mr. Speaker, on the 18th of July 2023, Ghana defaulted in the payment of Eurobonds. Defaulted. Yet, Mr. Speaker, in the budget statement, we made provisions in the budget statement for them to pay. Mr. Speaker, 18th January 2023, all bondholders who hold Ghana bonds that is due on the 18th of January 2023 were unable to get their coupons. As a result, Mr. Speaker, they are waiting for the 30 days grace period. Mr. Speaker, this is important. Mr. Speaker, this is important. Mr. Speaker, again, just yesterday, February 6th, yesterday, Mr. Speaker, an amount of 4.2 billion.
Honorable Minority Leader, I see the Deputy Minister for Finance really up. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just want to correct an erroneous impression that you created. Mr. Speaker, on the 19th of December 2022, Ghana announced a debt standstill. So for him to say that on the 18th of January 2023, we defaulted, that is not true. We announced that we were standing still on our debt payments. So on the 8th, yes. So no, to put it out here, Mr. Speaker, there's a clear difference between defaulting and you voluntarily announcing that on the 19th of December, there was going to be a debt standstill. There are two different things, Mr. Speaker. They are not the same, and they cannot be the same. So let's not the newly elected minority leader, start this new role this way, because Mr. Speaker, it is not true. Clearly, we have lawyers in this house. If voluntarily you tell the people of your debtors that you want to come under a debt standstill program for now, how then do you say that in the next year you did not pay, so you defaulted? Mr. Speaker, no, let's not start like this. Let's stick to the truth, and let's tell Ghanaians, we are all ready to help. We know you are ready to help us, but let's put the right facts there. Let's not say things that we cannot substantiate, Mr. Speaker. We did not default on the 8th. We announced on the 19th of December that there was going to be a standstill, 19th of December 2022. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, my understanding is that both sides agree that the minister be scheduled to come and brief the House, policy statement, and some details about the debt arrangements. Parliament is ever prepared to assist government to get out of this quagmire. And so what I can say now is that, like the church says, Roma locuta, causa finita est. Parliament has spoken, and that is the end of the case. The minister be scheduled by the business committee as early as possible, because this is an urgent matter. If the pensioners are picketing at the ministry, we need to do this as quickly as possible. And so please, business committee, kindly, urgently schedule the minister to appear before the House to give us a brief on the state of affairs. That ends the matter. Honorable members, we'll move on to the next item. Majority Chief Whip, yes.
Speaker, the Deputy Leader has extensively dealt with this matter. Speaker, I've been wondering, and in this house, you've always given us the guidance moving forward on matters of
parliamentary jurisprudence. So I'm just seeking your guidance. On matters like this, should it necessarily come to the floor? Couldn't the committee, the finance committee, couldn't have invited the finance minister to come and have a go at the finance committee? I think that there are many occasions that matters could have been dealt by our
Honorable
committee.
Majority Chief Whip, we've gone beyond that. We've gone beyond that.
I was only seeking your guidance.
No. You know the history. A business statement has been delivered. Our attention is being drawn to an emergency which hasn't found expression in the business statement. And so they are simply calling on us to take it as an urgent matter and schedule the minister to come. That is all. That is all they call from the Honorable Ablakwa, supported by the rest. So I've directed that that be done. And we move on. Please, with this, honorable members, what is the issue again?
Well, Right Honourable Speaker, please, I wanted to thank you very much for the timely intervention, your ruling, except to plead that if you could kindly, respectfully, Mr. Speaker, give some timelines, indication of timeline, as you normally do, because you've left it to the business committee's discretion, but sometimes their own, track record, it can drag, and this is a very urgent matter. So, Mr. Speaker, some timelines.
Not the track record of the business.
So, Mr. Speaker, we are appealing that based on the urgency of this matter, some timelines, if it can be this week. Yeah. That's why, Mr. Speaker, colleagues and I are appealing it could be done this week. Grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Ablakwa, I'm aware of a lot of programs lined up for this week. That is why I didn't add that this week. But because you've insisted, I can say that by Tuesday next week. Tuesday next week. This week is quite packed. And so Tuesday next week will be appropriate. Yeah, but we will be here together. So yes, honorable members, even though we have some business to on Tuesday, I insist that it should be on Tuesday. We have to find time for the minister because this is a very urgent matter, particularly dealing with elderly people. We have to find time for the minister to give us a brief. Please. Yes.
The Speaker, I just wish.
You don't have to catch my eye by begging me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, from you. If the request to the finance minister will be only with regards to the, or it will also include my very kind request for him to brief for oil. The gold for oil transaction, please.
I think that is a different issue. There's a link. If there's a link, yes, in giving the brief, he will touch on it. But that gold for oil thing is a major matter. And we need to discuss that one seriously. The gold for oil. When we talk about accountability, most of you think accountability is dealing with financial accountability. The accountability includes the trust that the people give to government and to public officials, including politicians. You have to be held to account for that trust. That trust includes lands and minerals. It's not just a matter of money when we are talking about accountability. And so it's part of our duty, our people, to get governments to account for those properties and those minerals. So it's a major thing. It's not something that you can add to this debt exchange matter. It will be handled separately. Yes, so honorable members, I take it that the business statement as presented is adopted. And I want us to take the last item before we can adjourn. And that one is the votes and proceedings. We had to take the business statement earlier than usual, but now we deal with the votes and proceedings. And the correction of votes and proceedings will start with the votes and proceedings of Wednesday, 21st December 2022. It's quite voluminous. It's about 94 pages. So I will be putting a number of pages together. If you have any correction, you draw our attention. So pages 1 to 10. Any correction? Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Respectfully, on page 8, item 4, I was here on a fateful day, sat, participated, and then even the voting that took place, I voted. So I'm surprised my name is captured absent on that day. I signed.
Table office kindly take note and make the necessary correction. Pages 11 to 20. Pages 21 to 30. Yes, Honorable Ablakwa.
Most grateful, right, Mr. Speaker. Item number 49 at page 26. The numbers on the voting that took place, the ayes 136, noes 135. You have a total of 271, which doesn't tally with the attendance. So if the table office may want to reconcile that. I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Table office kindly take note and make the necessary correction. Pages 31 to 40. Pages 41 to 50. Yes, please.
I'm most grateful, right, Mr. Speaker. Right, Mr. Speaker, please at page 43, the 5th paragraph, the word absenteeism has been spelled wrongly. If it can be corrected, absenteeism.
Yes, honourable member, you are right. Please, table office, kindly take note.
And Mr. Speaker, at page 44, the next page, your address, the first paragraph, Ghana's parliament as the best open parliament, not opened, the best open parliament. And the paragraph that follows is the need for a more active role of parliament. So if you can insert A. I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you so much, Honorable Ablakwa. Table office kindly take note. Pages 51 to 60. Yes, please. Honorable Kodo.
Right, Honorable Speaker. On page 44, paragraph 77, and it being 27 minutes before 5 o'clock in the morning of Thursday, 22nd December 2022, the House was adjourned sine die. But when you come to the cover page The sitting was for Wednesday, 21st December. That does not tally with the date of adjournment. I think we should correct, yes, we should correct it so that it will read, the coverage of the minutes will read for both days, because we continued into 22nd of December. We didn't end on 21st December.
Well, you have a point, but this is extended sitting. Extended sitting, we started on Wednesday, 21st December, but extended into Thursday, 22nd December. So the heading will start the day we commence the sitting. But in the body, you definitely capture the second day, because we extended to the second day. If not, you have difficulty in documentation in other areas. And the usual computations too can create problems. You are statistics and data experts. You know what will be involved. So let's take it as it is now. But we are grateful for you for the attention being drawn to those issues. Can we now go back again to 51 to 60? Pages 51 to 60. Pages 61 to 70. Pages 71 to 80. Pages 81 to 90. And pages 91 to 94. Yes, please.
I'm grateful, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, the last page, page 94, item number 3, in attendance. Dr. Paulo Poku Mensah, Executive Director. It should read National Cathedral of Ghana. National Cathedral of Ghana. And the rest should follow accordingly. That is how it was incorporated. National Cathedral of Ghana. That's how it was incorporated on the 18th of July, 2019. So, National Ghana. I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, table office kindly add the of Ghana to all the other descriptions of the personalities that appeared in attendance at the committee. Honourable members, with this, the votes and proceedings of the 36th sitting held on Wednesday, 21st December 2022, as corrected, are adopted as a true record of proceedings. Yes, Majority Chief Whip.
Speaker, at the commencement of public business, we are ready to take items 7A, II. Speaker, with your leave, to be done by the Deputy Leader.
Honourable Majority Chief Whip, my understanding at the conclave was for us to end at this place. And so I'm ending and adjourning the House till tomorrow. That was the understanding at the conclave. Yes, please.
Mr. Speaker, leadership would want to apologize to you. Mr. Speaker, you've said a time with that number that there should be no surprises. You've said so. And we are supposed to respect that at all times. So we apologize to you. But Mr. Speaker, just as we came in, we should have signaled you earlier that these two items, especially 7B, and we take responsibility for not drawing your attention to it earlier. So, Mr. Speaker, please, we're sorry. Kindly indulge us.
Yes, minority.
Just lay there. So that we can.
All right. Honorable members. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, indeed, we should not be bringing up surprises. And the Honorable Deputy Majority Leader should know that. And Mr. Speaker, I think that going forward, we must agree that when we come to an agreement at conclave, we will not come here and change it or surprise you. We will not accept that. Mr. Speaker, having said that, I mean, and it's very important for Honorable Afenyo-Markis. This is the reason why he's struggling to be the leader, and we are all praying for you. But please, be straightforward with the Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think we can allow him to lay those. Thank you.
Majority Chief Whip.
Speaker, I think that we've come to some understanding, and we respect the new leadership. We've come to some understanding. Let's not depart from that understanding. Honorable Kofi Amabua, the greatest of respect. Your latter comment is not good enough. You know what you said. It's not good enough. But you are minded either to withdraw or just leave it. But if you leave it, you should also be minded that we could also do say. So please, do the needful and let's proceed.
Honorable Kofi Bua, Deputy Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think my honorable member has known me long enough. I know that I'm a gentleman. I mean, Honorable Afenyo-Markis is my friend. I was just trying to make sure that we are very clear when we agree on something, we keep our word. That's all I said. But if I said anything that, Mr. Speaker, was not right, I will draw it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So we'll go to item 7. At the commencement of public business, item 7B, by the Minister for Finance.
Speaker, we'll seek your kind leave for it to be done by the Deputy Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker,
yes.
At least you should tell us where the Finance Minister is. He can't just say that the Deputy Minister should do that. Tell us where the Finance Minister is.
Honorable Majority Chief, where is the Minister of Finance? Where is the Minister of Finance?
Mr. Speaker, he's on his way to Parliament, but because of the time. Mr. Speaker, we don't want to unduly delay. Mr. Speaker, we don't want to unduly delay. But the Deputy Minister is here. That is why, with your leave, Mr. Speaker, that is why, with your leave, I would want her to proceed.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you know, this morning when the honorable member was reading the business statement, he made us aware that we have 800 and almost 30 questions, and it is bound to increase. Mr. Speaker, it's very important as we discuss the presence of the Minister of Finance that we make this point very clear. Once we ask ministers to come here to answer questions, Mr. Speaker, there will be no compromise because we'll give them time to commit those, and they must take this House very seriously. Mr. Speaker, having said that, we allow that, but the Minister of Finance, his record of attendance here It's not something we are proud of. And he must change.
Yes.
Yes, Deputy Minister of Finance.
Financing agreement between the government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Finance, and the International Development Association of the World Bank Group for an amount of $150 million United States dollars to finance the West Africa Food System Resilience Program, Phase 2, under the multi-phase programmatic approach.
Honourable members, the financial agreement is referred to the Finance Committee for consideration and report to the House. Honourable members, you know, sometimes we must have our heads above the water. If not, we can't debate. Or if we drown, we are finished. So some of the situation, let's keep floating so that we can debate. You understand? Yes. So any other business?
Item 7A, and Speaker, with your leave, for it to be done by the Deputy Leader.
7A?
Yes, 7A.
Roman 102.
7AI. So that, yes, 7AI.
7A, Roman 1 and Roman 2. By the Majority Leader and Leader of Government Business.
Report of the Auditor General on the statement of foreign exchange receipts and payments of the Bank of Ghana for the half year ended 30th June 2022.
The report is accordingly referred to the Public Accounts Committee for consideration and report to the House. Yes, Roman 2. Oh, Honourable Member, yes.
Report of the Auditor General on the audit of the Government of Ghana COVID-19 expenditure for the period March 2020 to June 2022.
Again, the report on the COVID-19 expenditure is referred to the Public Accounts Committee for consideration and report to the House. Honourable members, we earlier on set up a committee on this COVID-19 expenditure. I'm expecting the report of the committee. I'm told the committee has started sitting. This is different from the Auditor General's report. So please, let's get the report and we can go into the details together with the Auditor General's report. Yes, any more business?
Today, Speaker, the last item to be taken is 7C. And Speaker, related to the Minority Leader. We'll come to some agreement that the Minister for Roads would do it instead.
Honourable members, I think you are now abusing the privilege. Honourable members, I can only allow, you said the Minister for Roads and Highways is to do that for and on behalf of the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, and is agreed to by the minority from bench. I will allow one bow for all, and then it will be read together, and then I refer, because it's the same committee that is going to handle all of them. Then after that, we can take an adjournment. So, honourable members, item 7C, Roman 1, Roman 2, Roman 3, Roman 4, Roman 5, and Roman 6. Minister for Roads and Highways for and on behalf of the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources.
Consolidated financial statements of the Lands Commission for the year ended 31st December 2015. Consolidated financial statements of the Lands Commission for the year ended 31st December 2016. Consolidated financial statements of the Lands Commission for the year ended 31st December 2017. Consolidated financial statements of the Lands Commission for the year ended 31st December 2018. Consolidated financial statements of the Lands Commission for the year ended 31st December 2019. Consolidated financial statements of the Lands Commission for the year ended 31st December 2021.
Honorable members, the 6 consolidated financial statements as read by the table office are all referred to the on lands and forestry for consideration and report to the House. Yes, Honorable. Yes, Honorable Kodo.
Right, Honorable Speaker. The Lands and Natural Resources Minister is personally not here. But if you look at Roman number V, that's 5, and 6, between them, there appears to be an omission. The 2021, or it's not ready. That's why I'm asking whether it is an omission or it is not ready.
2019 and 2020.
Well, the minister is not here, and we will all be speculating unless the leaders of the majority side have some credible information on it. So you take note of it. Later on, when he is available, we'll question him on that. I've seen that too. That is missing, 2020. Yes. So with this, I proceed to adjourn the House. Is that the case? Honorable members, the House is accordingly adjourned to tomorrow, Wednesday, at 10. Yes, please.
Mr. Speaker, it's not up to 2 o'clock yet. And I think a member must move since we are sitting within the prescribed time.
Yes, it's 10 minutes to 2. You are right. Yes.
Speaker, I rise to move the House to adjourn to tomorrow, 10 o'clock in the forenoon. I so move.
Any second?
Speaker, I second the motion.
Motion moved and seconded is for the consideration of the House. In the absence of any consideration, I put the question. Those in favor of adjournment, say aye. Those against adjournment, say no. The ayes have it. The House is accordingly adjourned to tomorrow at 10 in the forenoon. The House is adjourned.